This is my ranking of every Mario Party DS minigame. As per usual, it's only my opinion and no one else's, and concept is of the utmost importance, and so are difficulty and replayability. Them's the rules, so let's go. 73. Chips and dips. Each round, the players take turns choosing face-down cards, each with a different number. The number they get will determine how many poker chips they'll score, and the player with the most chips after 3 rounds wins. Yes, this one's luck-based, but why is it the worst? You tell me. By now, you should know what kind of minigame is guaranteed to be the worst if it exists.
Oh, it's because your copy of the game is pirated. You should really get a legit copy.
No, dingus, it's because it's a battle minigame. Ugh. As even a brain-dead person should know by now, if you're both a luck-based and battle minigame at the same time, you may as well go dig your own grave. 72. Cheap chance. The players take turns choosing ropes, hoping the one they pick will have a cheap. If it does, they win, but if it does not, they lose. That's all. Alright, cheap chance. Let's have a Mario Party bad minigame quality lightning round. You're luck-based. You're boring. Your concept is bland. It's too easy for you to end in a tie. If it wasn't for you, and chips and dips, Mario Party DS wouldn't have any luck-based minigames. Lightning round's over. So yeah, cheap chance sucks, plain and simple. 71. Cherry go round. Each player's got a cherry, which they must swing around and throw. The player to throw it the furthest wins. Yes, you do so with the touch controls. Unless you're playing with easy computers. If you're left-handed like I am, good luck on this one, because you can only spin your cherry clockwise. Nintendo, why so handist? I guess the concept is kinda cute, maybe? But with all the technical issues, that doesn't really mean anything. 70. Nothing to lose. Each side, the lone player in a spoon and the team in a shoe. Okay then. Are snowboarding down a hill. You have to try to make turns smoothly or you'll lose speed. The first side to cross the finish line wins. I guess this one's kind of like a faster paced version of Curvy Curbs from Mario Party 5, so you might think that'd make me like it more, right? Yeah, not in this case. Like I've said before, some minigames actually benefit from having slow pacing, and this is for sure one of them. In this case, I think it's likely due to the ice physics. 69. Cucumber jacks. Each player's got a vegetable cutter with which they have to slice up a long cucumber. The first team to finish wins. As I'm sure you can guess, this minigame uses the touch controls. Specifically, you basically have to keep scratching the touch screen like a maniac. I don't normally mind this control scheme, but here it just doesn't really work. At least I don't think it does. It's also kinda short. Overall, pretty mediocre minigame. 68. Call of the Goomba. The players are in a forest full of Goombas, and each has their own organ grinder. Using the touch controls, they must twist the crank to the right tempo to attract Goombas. The closer they match the tempo, the more Goombas they'll lure, and the player to lure the most Goombas before time expires wins. I find this minigame quite difficult. It's a bit hard, at least for me, to constantly maintain the right rhythm, and also, it's kind of boring with an uninteresting concept. 67. Triangle twisters. And here we have our first puzzle minigame. You have a grid full of triangles, which you have to rearrange. In frenzy mode, you have to match up 4 of the same color to both clear them out and score points. You want to try to shoot for a new record. And in focus mode, you have to make certain shapes. Each time you succeed, you'll get points, and you want to try to get through as many levels as possible. I think focus mode is better, but to be honest, I don't much care for either mode, or this minigame as a whole. The new puzzle minigame is the worst. That's a little ironic. 66. Rubber Ducky Rodeo. The players each ride their own rubber duck. Boy, sure sounds promising. The lone player has a huge one, and the team players have small ones, and are connected to the lone player by a rope. The lone player must steer and veer and try to make the team players fall off their ducks. If all 3 team players fall off before time expires, the lone player wins, but if at least one of them can outlast the timer, the team wins. Honestly, this one's really not bad. In fact, I don't think I dislike it at all. I mean, it sometimes feels like the lone player has a bit too much control, but apart from that and the concept, there's nothing wrong with this minigame. 65. Trace Cadets. This one has players drawing on the touchscreen. Each player must draw shapes to fill up their board, and the first one to do so wins. You have to make neat drawings, which wouldn't be a problem if you didn't also have to rush. Sloppy drawings don't count, and we all know it's impossible to draw neatly without taking our time. Unless maybe you're a super good fast artist, which I'm not. 64. Double Vision. Just like in Trace Cadets, this one has players drawing on the touchscreen. Each team must draw a Mario character as accurately as possible before time expires to score points, and the team to score the most points wins. Again, you have to make neat drawings, which while rushing is basically impossible. Sloppy drawings cost you points, and we all know it's impossible to draw neatly without taking our time. I think Double Vision is better than Trace Cadets due to the teamwork aspect of it and the fact that it's easier, but they're both still just eh. That's what I draw from this.
Boo! You stink!
63. Block Star. You have to clear out blocks by matching them with several of the same color. You'll score points each time you do so, and if your stack gets too tall, the minigame is over. I normally like clearing out blocks, but here you do so by moving them from the bottom up, and this gimmick kind of takes all the fun out of it for me. I know a lot of people really like this one, but if you ask me, it's super overrated. What, are you gonna block me now? 62. Get the lead out. Each player's got a mechanical pencil, which they must keep hitting to get the lead out. The player to get out the most lead wins. I'm sure you could already tell, but this one's a mutton basher. Just a nice and simple one. I do think its concept is clever, but it's just a basic masher, not really much more to it. Some mini-games, especially mashers, don't have much to them.
I know I'm just repeating myself.
61. Mario's Puzzle Party. Here, you're pretty much playing Tetris, just stacking blocks of the same color together to clear them out and score points. If your stack gets too big, you lose, and the first one to reach 100 points wins. This one's just a basic puzzle game. The thwomps are a nice touch, but outside of that, it's basically just regular Tetris, so the concept is unoriginal. But even so, I enjoy Tetris, so logic dictates I enjoy this minigame. And I will say, for Mario Party's first ever puzzle minigame, it's great. 60. Trash landing, or better yet, pitfall from 6 done right. Each player must pick a rope and then ride it to a pile of oil with a bunch of stuff atop it, okay, and let go at the right time to land on one of the items. Any player who does so wins. Since some items are easier to land on than others, there is some level of luck involved, but not as much as in Pitfall, since here you at least have a chance no matter which rope you pick, but there is still luck involved period, so it's just okay. 59. Rail riders. You leafboard down a handrail. Leafboarding? Huh, never heard of that. You have to pick up speed by, like in Cucumber Jack, sliding up on the touchscreen like a madman. The player to get the furthest distance wins. This one's a race, so why do you have it so low? Because I just don't think the touch controls work super well here. It's definitely better here than in Cucumber Jacks, but overall, not so much. But kind of interesting concept, I guess, maybe? 58. Study fall. Each player with a magnet tied to their back must jump down a blackboard and use the magnet to stop as close as possible to the bottom, but if you miss, you lose. The player to get the closest wins. Basically, this one's gimme a break from 7 done right. Here, you push the button right when you want to stop rather than a few seconds before. That makes this one feel much less up to luck, and in general, Daredevil minigames tend to be quite fun and on edge keeping. 57. Shortcut circuit. You walk along a track with 4 lanes, across which you want to keep switching to get coins. You do so by making bridges. This is quite a unique idea for a coin cache. It's quite fun, and I like how each bridge can only be walked on once, and you have to be careful where and when you place bridges, since other players can take them from you. Slow-paced? Maybe, but guess what I have to say in response to that? Some minigames benefit from having slow pacing, and this one's no exception! 56. Mole thrill. You're in a tunnel being chased by a Monty Mole. Cooperating with your teammate, you have to dig your way out, avoiding rocks in the process. The first team to make it all the way out wins. This one takes good teamwork and synchronization, since if you want to go in a specific direction, you and your partner can't both dig at the same time, and if you want to go straight and fast, you have to dig at the same time. Sure sounds like a lot to take in, doesn't it? And also, it's a race. Why does that matter? Actually, I have no idea. Don't know why I even brought it up. 55. Peace out. You have a tile grid onto which you must drag tiles, trying to completely fill the grid. Each time you do so, you'll score points and you want to shoot for a new record. And bonus, the more matching colors you have, the more points you'll get. This one's just a fun puzzle game. And that's it. I'm not sure what else to say. What a puzzling quandary. I hope my puns make up for lack of content. I always try to keep the peace. 54. Bomb breakers. Basically, think Mario's Puzzle Party, except with the addition of, hence the name, bombs, which by completely covering with shapes you have to blow up. Doing so scores you points and you want to try for a new record. This one's just a kind of generic puzzle game. I guess it is kind of fun, and the bomb gimmick is pretty cool, but I don't know if I'd say I love it. But I will say it for sure beats the original version from Mario Party 4, since, in my opinion, this is one of those minigames that are more fun when you're by yourself. Forget bombs, this minigame breaks the mold. 53. Penny pinchers. Think money belts from 4, except the team players use reaching hooks, and there are no conveyor belts. There's coins falling out of a treasure chest, and the lone player must try to get as many coins as he or she can, and the team has to get the ones he or she misses. This one has a kind of interesting concept for a coin cache, and even beyond that, it's really fun. Also, some people think money belt is broken in the lone player's favor, but here, that's not a problem, because there are also marbles falling out of the chest which can stun the lone player. I do prefer money belts, but I still like this one. It's fun. 52. Power washer. The lone player's got 2 jets of water, which they have to keep spinning around trying to hit all 3 team players. If they can do so in the time allotted, they win, but if at least one team player can survive the entire time, the team wins. It's an attack 1v3. I think that means fun for lone player, on toe keeping for team, and thrilling no matter what, but even so, I think the lone player has a slight edge. So yeah, that holds it back a bit, but even with that, I for sure like it a lot, especially with the clever, funny concepts. 51. Roller coasters. Think of this one like a racing touch-controlled version of bumper balls from Mario Party 1 and 2. Oh no, it's happening again! Each player, rolling atop a bouncy ball, must race across a long sandbox. Along the way, watch out for blocks, sand buckets, sand shovels, trucks, and more. First one to cross the finish line wins. Earlier, I said racing version of bumper balls. I love both of those, which means I love this minigame. And finally, the touch controls actually work well here for a change. 50. Star catchers. Stars will keep appearing, and you want to tap them as fast as possible. The player to tap the most in the time limit wins. And that's about it. This one's just nice and simple, and requires sharp focus and a good reaction time. It also makes good use of the touch controls. No noteworthy concept, but if you want to waste your shooting star wish on gravy, that's your problem. I'm gonna use mine to wish for more content. It's already working! 49. Hot shots. Targets will keep appearing, which of course you want to shoot at with a bow and arrows to score points, but make sure only to aim for Kamek and Bowser, since if you hit Toadette, you'll lose points, aka stay sharp. The player with the most points when time is up wins. I freaking hate shooting games. Oh, no, wait, what I meant is, I hate sarcasm. Oh, wait, what am I saying? I love sarcasm. Wait, what was I talking about again? Oh, right, shooting games. I love those, especially ones that make good use of touch controls. 48. Goomba Wrangler. A good way to look at this one is like a mix of Trapeze Artist from 6 and Pokemon Ranger. Well, at least this time it's with a different franchise. There's a bunch of Goombas running around, and by drawing loops around them, you have to try to catch as many as possible. The more you catch, the more points you'll score, and if you have the most points when time is up, you win. And side note, if you don't want to lose points, don't get bombs. This one beats Trapeze Artist by a long shot, since there's much less luck involved. And like I said earlier, it was inspired by Pokemon Ranger. I just love that. 47. Hammer Chime. Hammer Bro will make drum riffs which you must replicate to attack him. If you don't do so fast enough, you'll get attacked instead, but if you can get him 3 times, you win. This is an alright boss battle. It's fun and takes good memory, more or less, but it's not perfect. For a boss battle, it's really short and easy. If Hammer Bro had, say, 5 lives and for his last 2 attacks made 6 and 7 beats respectively, it would have been a lot better. But even how it is, it's good. I do like it a lot. Can you think of any other quick, nice, and simple boss battles like this? 46. Book It. In terms of controls, this one's like a slower version of Snow World from 6. How much longer do I have left to live? Both teams, each holding a ruler, must hoist each other up a staircase of books. You do so by pressing the A, B, Y, and X buttons in that order as fast as possible. The first team to get all the way up wins. Though I do prefer Snow World, this one is still really fun. Even though you can't use the shirt trick here. Who said that? 45. Soil Toil. Each team with their own go-kart race, yes, the almighty word race, on a dirt road. Watch out for subterranean vegetables and piles of soil, and the first team to cross the finish line wins. A teamwork-based race, how lovely! But it's a unique type of race because it's also a touch-controlled one. You spin your wheel with your stylus, and like in Mole Thrill, you and your teammate have to work in good sync to make turns. I can't think of any other racing games like this, so it's one of a kind. 44. Sweet Sleuth. Shy Guy wants lots of candy, and you have to keep bringing him the kind he asks for. You'll score a point each time you do so, and if you have the most points once time is up, you win. This one takes good focus and makes good use of the touch controls. But can I just say, Shy Guy, that's a lot of sugar. I mean, I have a big sweet tooth too, but I'm also afraid of cavities and diabetes. For your sake, I hope you have a really good workout regimen. 43. Dress for Success. Each round you'll have 4 body cards, one of which will match a head card. The body cards will shuffle around, and you have to keep track of the one that matches the head card, and when they stop, pick it out. Each time you do so, you'll score a point, and first to 3 points wins. This one takes laser sharp focus, and as far as concept goes, I find it a little funny, especially when someone, other than me, makes a mistake. Dress for Success is successful. Oh, but my sense of humor ain't succeeding nowhere, except maybe sucking. 42. Plush Crush. The lone player's in an arena with several plush dolls, which the team players, using cranes, must pick up and try to drop on the lone player. If they can do so in the time limit, they win, but if not, the lone player wins. In a way, this one's kind of like Crane Game from Mario Party 2. But with the roles reversed. Crane Game is good, but I think this one's better. It's more fun for both sides, has a funnier concept, and, well, that's it really. 41. Sprinkler Scalers. Each team climbs up their own sprinkler. You do so by pushing specified buttons, specifically X to go up, A to rotate clockwise, and B to rotate counterclockwise, for the sake of getting past screws. If you push a wrong button, you'll fall down a bit. The first team to make it all the way up wins. This one takes good teamwork, Sasaga 2v2, since teammates take turns pressing the buttons, which means there's more pressure not to mess up, since if one makes a mistake, it affects them both. And I love button pushing games, what else is new? 40. Boogie Beam. Each player's dancing in front of their own spotlight. Each time the music stops, either it'll turn on or it won't, and you have to make the right pose depending on which one happens. You'll score a point each time you do so, and if you have the most points when time is up, you win. This is another one that takes laser focus. It's also just nice and simple, and every now and then it's fun to get down a bit. Ain't nobody stealing my spotlight. 39. Feed and Seed. You're floating over a piranha plant. When it starts inhaling, it'll suck in bomb plants, light them, then blow them back at you. When it does so, you have to catch one, wait for the piranha plant to inhale again, then drop it into its mouth. If you can do so 3 times, you win. For a boss battle, I'd say this one's pretty unique. It's also a bit of a good challenge, maybe. Sorry, there's not really much else to it. Some mini-games are good for just a few or even one simple reason, but for a boss battle, that's pretty rare. 38. All Geared Up. You race up the inside of a huge clock. First to get all the way to the top wins. That's it! Yes, I said the word race, and for a race, I like this concept. A vertical race inside of a clock. Just keep jumping from platform to platform. And speaking of platforms, these ones are on steroids. They move around, spin, disappear for a few seconds, and all that means very on toe keeping. And side note, All Geared Up, that's a really clever name. 37. Tidal Fools. The players are on a beach, and each time the tide comes in, they must try to get as many of the coins that wash up as they can. Also, don't let the water hit you, or else you ain't getting no coins. This one's just a fun, nice and simple coin cache. I don't really know what else to say. Nothing noteworthy about its concept, no real notable challenge, not super on toe keeping, just really, really fun, and there's nothing wrong with that. 36. Crazy crosshairs. Each team's got their own shell tank with which they have to keep shooting spiders. Oh, the other almighty word, shoot. The more you do so, the more points you'll score, and the team with the most points when time is up wins. If you just look at this one, it might look like one of those 2v2s that don't involve teamwork, but it's actually not, because each team's crosshair moves automatically, and one teammate controls where it stops horizontally, and the other vertically. So really, it takes exceptional teamwork. It's also quite unique, although I wonder, why are y'all invading on these spiders' territory and freaking shooting them? They're not bothering anyone. 35. Memory Mesh. Players are standing above several cards with different Mario items and enemies on the downward sides, and each team must ground pound them in unison to flip up two that match. The first team to flip over 4 matching pairs wins. This one is plain fun, and to some extent tests your memory. It also requires teamwork, and it's just nice and simple. Really? It's like a 2v2 version of Memory Match from Mario Party 1. I have had enough. 34. Big Blowout. Each player's got a path of lit candles, which they must blow out and jump across. The first player to make it all the way to the end wins. This one's a race. Oh, and I love those things to death. And a really unique one at that. Very clever concept. And it makes great use of the microphone. Some might think you have to blow too much, which could make you run out of breath fast, but that's not a problem for me. Like I always say, it's solely my opinion and nobody else's. 33. Rotisserie Rampage, or like a touch-controlled version of Shock Drop or Roll from Mario Party 2. This is ridiculous! The team players stand on a slab of meat, which the lone player must repeatedly change the direction of its spin to try and make them fall off. If even one team player is still standing when time expires, the team wins. If not, the lone player wins, just like Shock Drop or Roll. This one is quite fun, and for the team, thrilling, nerve-wracking, and on toe-keeping, with a pretty funny concept. I'm not quite sure which one I overall prefer, but do you really need to know? 32. Twist and Root, or like a free-for-all version of Soil Toil. Thought I was gonna bring up a minigame from an older Mario Party, didn't you? Each player drives their own wind-up car, and like in Soil Toil, you have to keep circling on the touchscreen to move. Yes, watch out for obstacles, and first across the finish line wins. But it's even better here, because now you turn with the D-pad, which means you don't have to limit how much you spin. No limits, no liability. Don't hear me wrong, Soil Toil is good, but this one's for sure better. 31. Flash and Dash. This one's kind of like Flash Fright from Mario Party 7. Oh, it just never stops. But with the roles reversed. The players are in a dimly lit maze, and the team players, each with a flashlight, must find, chase, and catch the lone player. If they can do so in the time limit, they win, but if not, the lone player wins. 1v3, where team pursues lone player, so fun for former, on toe keeping for ladder, and thrilling for all, right? I think I have to give Flash Fright the slight edge, but this one's great too. 30. Peekaboo. Each side must scope around and find boos of specified colors, or headgear. The lone player has a large scope, while the team players each have small scopes. Each found boo grants 1 point, and the side with the most points when all the boos are found wins. This one is, again, just fun, and that's all. Also, I think I prefer to be the lone player. Like I've said before, sometimes being just plain fun is enough. 29. Raft Riot, or like Water World from 333 done, right, malfunction. Each player has their own motorboat, which they must race across a water race course, and the first to complete 1 lap wins. I said that word, didn't I? At least once, I'm pretty sure I did. Just like in Waterworld, the controls here are kind of slippery, but not as much, so it's more tolerable. It's also a lot more fun and on toe keeping, what with the new ramps and obstacles. It's a riot. 28. Hexoskeleton. This one's like a more intricate version of the final phase of the final battle from 4. I cannot take this bullcrap anymore. You're in an arena with dry bones, and there are 8 buttons. You have to ground pound them in the right order to conjure up, magic discs, I think, to attack dry bones. Meanwhile, watch out for his counterattacks. Do so 3 times, and victory is yours. This is one dope boss battle. Its concept is really epic, and it's also a decent challenge. Dry bones can throw bones, jump around, and try to squash you. Oh, he's playing hardball. Undoubtedly one of the better boss battles. 27. Gusty Blizzard. Brrr, it's freezing out here, because the lone player's blowing into the mic like there's no tomorrow. We better make like the touch screen has poison ivy to stay warm, or else we might turn into snowmen, said the team. That's right, and if you do, you lose and I win, said the lone player. This one's really fun and unique, and it has a funny concept, said me. 26. Toppling Terror. The teams surround a womp, and each player has their own horn. You have to make like your DS has 3rd degree burns. The team to blow the softest? Well, I hope y'all like getting pancaked by womps, and the other team wins. Once again, this one's really fun with a funny, clever, original concept, and it really puts the microphone to good use. And it's also, nice and simple, I guess. Between you and me, some minigames just don't really have much to them. I've never told anyone that before, so please keep it under wraps. 25. Soap Surfers. This one's kinda like a faster version of Bumper Balls. Each player rides their own wet bar of soap in a sink. I'm sure you know what happens next. Yep, they gotta try to knock each other out of the sink. Last one surfing wins. Just like Bumper Balls, this one's really fun. It's also more on toe keeping, and it has a clever concept. I'm not sure about Mario Party 2's Bumper Balls, but this one definitely beats the Mario Party 1 version. If you disagree, please respect my right to my own opinion. I respect your right to your own opinion. 24. Stick and spin. You have a spinning wheel and must keep spinning it around to make the falling balls. Don't laugh. Stick to others of the same color. Once you match up 5, they'll clear out and give you points. If too many balls get stuck to the wheel, you lose, but if you can break the record, you win. Typically, I don't care a whole lot for long puzzle minigames in Mario Party, but this one's definitely an exception. Sure, it can drag on for a long time, but it's just so fun and addictive. And the same indubitably can't be said for most, if not all other Mario Party puzzle games. And of said games, I think this one's my favorite in the entire series. 23. Globe Gunners. All 4 players are running on a globe and must find their opponents and shoot them with pop guns. Each successful shot grants 1 point, and the player with the most points when time expires wins. This one is quite fun and thrilling, and again, I love shooting games, who could have guessed, especially open world ones. Also, I love this clever concept. It's not totally perfect, because the controls are a little tight, but really, that's little more than a minor inconvenience. But just curious, since when do desk globes have their own centers of gravity? 22. Airbrushers. Each team flies in tandem with fans. I'm not sure how that's possible, but alright. You want to try to get as many coins as you can, so yeah, you can likely guess why I like this one. It's just a really fun, nice and simple coin cache. Also, like Crazy Crosshairs, it might look like one of those 2v2s that don't involve teamwork, but it's actually not, because the coins are all over the place, which means teams have to be in good sync to ascend and descend. Talk about more than meets the eye. 21. Hedge Honcho. You're deep in a thick forest and must push leaves out of your way to escape, and a few ladybugs too. But watch out for bees, because if you touch one, it'll sting you and you'll be stunned for a few seconds. First player to get all the way out wins. This one takes good focus, what with the bees, and it makes clever, efficient use of the touch controls. It's also fairly on toe keeping, because you have to move fast, but not too fast, unless you have a masochistic kink for bee stings or something. Whatever gets you off, I guess. 20. Short Fuse. Or really, Balloon Busters from 7 done right. I'm gonna freaking blow a fuse! Players take turns blowing on the fuse of a bomb. Each turn, you have to blow at least a little, and if you set the bomb off, you're out. Last one standing wins. This one beats Balloon Busters by a long shot. The execution's the way it should be, and more importantly, it's much less up to luck. It's also a lot more heart-pounding and on-edge keeping. One of the best Daredevil minigames ever. 19. Cyber Scamper. You're trapped in some sort of computer world and must make your way out. Run and jump properly to avoid falling in the pit below. If you do fall, you lose, but if you make it out, you win. Super fun, quite on toe keeping, decent challenge, and sick concept. Do you think I love it because it's a race? Yeah, no, it's not a race. And to be honest, I'm kind of happy about that, because if it were a race, that would make it harder for you to watch your steps. I also like how the path keeps changing colors. That adds a whole new layer of difficulty, which I love. All around, out of this world's minigame. 18. Parachuting Gallery, or another version of Paratrooper Plunge from 4. You're skydiving through, tile boards of some sort. For each one, you want to try to fall through a tile with the same shape as the one on the top screen. You'll get a point each time you do so, and the one to get the most out of 5 wins. This one kind of takes good focus, I guess, but really, it's just fun. Mad fun. And that's always good enough for me. Short, sweet, and right to the point. 17. Crater Crawl. You're crawling out of an active volcano. Well, it's more climbing, really. Spouts of lava will keep shooting up, which I think you might want to avoid, because if one hits you, you lose, but if you can stay in the whole time, you win. There's a few things about this one. Level of amusement, concept, on toe keepingness, on edge keepingness. I'm not sure if I'm forgetting anything, but if I am, it's like the ones I mentioned. Epic. It's really not that big of a challenge, but you know what? So what? 16. Cheap Chump. You're swimming in a pond full of Cheep Cheeps. They'll try to suck you into their mouths. Don't let them or you lose. Last one swimming wins. Fun, on edge keeping, original concepts, decent challenge, not much more to say beyond that. Well, actually, there is one more thing, but if I say it, my blood pressure might shoot through the roof. So I'll just give you a hint. Blooper Scooper from 6 and the words better and version. Oh, wait, that was a really big hint. Oh, better move on before I pop a vein. 15. Boo Tag. You're in a treasure chest with 2 boos, who will possess 2 random players, who must then try to pawn them off on other players. The one to have spent the least amount of time possessed when the timer expires wins. There is a little bit of luck involved, because when a boo first appears, it'll go for a random player, but that's just one minor drawback. It's madly on edge keeping, and super fun. It's also a fairly good challenge, and I love the epic and original concepts. I also like how there are obstacles, but possessed players can just run right through them. All around, this one's beyond epic. 14. Wompathon. You're in a small arena surrounded by 4 womps who will keep face planting. If one falls on you, you're out, but if you can outlast the other players or the timer, you win. This one's actually a lot like Boo Tag. There is a little bit of luck involved, since though the womps do give a warning when they're about to fall, they eventually start trying to fake you out. But again, that's just one small drawback. It's super fun, and both on toe keeping and on edge keeping. Also, really funny, clever, original concepts. Another amazing minigame all over. 13. Pedal pushers. Or really slot car derby from 1 and 2 done right. Nothing is right here, everything is wrong. Your kart racing. Yes, that word. Across a racetrack. Yes, that word again. And yes, first across the finish line wins. Honestly, this is how slot car derby should have been to begin with. Instead of holding the joystick down, you alternate between mashing 2 buttons, and going too fast can still make you spin out, but only on the icy parts, which is way better than the whole dang track. I know a lot of people love slot car derby, but really, I don't get why. If you ask me, this one's really where it's at. 12. Bowser's Block Party, also known as the final boss battle. Bowser has a new toy, the Megamorph Belt, which makes him change into a bunch of blocks. Alright then, whatever lets you sleep at night, I guess. You have to defeat him by attacking his gold block weak spot. Seems simple enough, right? Hell no, there's way more to it than that. There's 3 phases. In the first one, Bowser's a tornado, sort of. In the second, he's a huge block. And in the third, he's a snake train sort of thing. Running out of ideas, Nintendo? For each one, you have to punch the weak spot 5 times. And also, watch out for his fiery counterattacks. Beat all 3 phases and victory is yours. No real special concept here, but it's really fun, on toe keeping, and a good enough challenge. Weird, but awesome final boss. 11. Fast Food Frenzy. The team players are running on a conveyor belt, and the lone player must drag fast food items onto it to try and make them fall off. If even one team player is still standing when time expires, the team wins. If not, the lone player wins. This one is extremely fun for the lone player and extremely on-toe keeping and nerve-wracking for the team, and thrilling for everyone, like always, with a clever and funny concept to boot. Also, the effects the hot dogs and ice cream cups have make me laugh. Like what, do the hot dogs have sedatives in them? And is the ice cream made of liquid nitrogen? 10. Domino effect. You're on a path of, wooden dominoes, maybe? I'm not really sure. You have to keep jumping across them by pushing specified buttons, and the first to reach the finish wins. This one's just a nice and simple button-pushing game, and have I ever told you I love those things? It is pretty short and lacks any conceptual notability, but sometimes just being fun's enough. I'm not sure if I've ever told you that either, or that I'm a sarcastic person. 9. Soccer survival. You're on a soccer field, and the Goomball keep kicking soccer balls your way. One hits you, you lose, outlast other players or timer, you win. Another one that's mad fun, on toe keeping, on edge keeping, and with a clever, funny concept. And I guess it can be a kind of good challenge sometimes. I also love how you can mess with your opponents by stomping on their heads. I might like it more if the arena were a bit bigger, because it can get cramped. But even with that small downside, this minigame still kicks ass. I always get a real kick out of it. 8. Shuffleboard Showdown. The lone player must launch poker chips toward the team players, who, must avoid them. If even one team player is still standing when time expires, the team wins. If not, the lone player wins. This one's just like Fast Food Frenzy. Fun for the lone player and on-toe keeping and nerve-wracking for the team. And thrilling for everyone! In case you forgot. But I slightly prefer this one due to the faster pace. Not quite as funny of a concept, maybe, but just as cool and clever of one. 7. Cube Crushers, are like a different version of Rocky Road from 6. Will someone please crush my head with a rock? You're in a freezer and have to make your way out. You do so by smashing ice cubes. The first team to escape wins. Rocky Road is great, but I think this one's a little better. It requires better teamwork, since to advance, both teammates have to open the door at the same time. Also, there are little purple urchin things that can freeze you somehow, and when this happens, teammates can save each other. And not to mention, this one's concept is more clever, unique, and epic. This minigame's cool as ice. 6. Hanger management. Each team rides their own hanger down a clothesline. They have to move around to avoid hitting obstacles, and the first team to reach the finish wins. This one's a really unique type of race. Getting sick of hearing that word? Well, too bad. I love the clever concept, and yes, it takes good teamwork. Both teammates have to move to one side to dodge hazards, and the rest of the time, keep the hanger straight to move faster. So not just good teamwork, also good coordination and synchronization. Excellent one-of-a-kind 2v2. 5. Camera Shy. The players are in a corn maze and each has their own camera. You have to find all the other players and snap photos of them. The first one to do so wins. Hide and seek for photographers. Not a very intriguing concept, but even so, really fun and even more thrilling and on-toe keeping, because the map doesn't show the players' locations. Well, it will for a second, every time they take a photo, but that's it. So I guess you could argue that there is a little bit of luck involved, but really it's negligible. With how, again, fun, exhilarating, and on-toe keeping it is, it's an astounding minigame. 4. Dust Buddies. You're being chased by a vacuum cleaner. Run away, avoid hazards like buttons, clumps of lint, ribbons, sheets of film. Okay, that's kinda random. And worst of all, marbles. If you get sucked up by the vacuum, you lose, but if you can make it all the way to the end, you win. I just love this one's concept. Very unique and clever, and most importantly, it's insanely fun, exhilarating, and on edge keeping. But like in Camera Shy, there might be a tiny little bit of luck involved, because the marbles are really unpredictable and can really screw you over if they hit you. But again, I can totally look past that. 3. Shorty Scorers. Well, really just handball. You know, get ball, throw into goal, score points, jump, steal, Goomba standee goalie, team with most points once time expires wins, bland concept, yet extremely fun, good teamwork, so blah concepts no matter. This minigame, really good example of that rule, no more to say about this one, nice and simple, short, sweet, and to the point, awesome minigame, time to move on, I can't stop, please help me, I'm running out of breath, I'm gonna talk myself to death. Thanks, I needed that. 2. Book Bash. You're on a magic book flying through a library. Along the way, avoid bookshelves and shoot down evil books with your ink pen gun thing. Sick. Eventually, you'll reach Kamek. Keep shooting ink at his face and avoid his wand blasts and book onslaughts. Unless, of course, you want to lose, but hit Kamek enough times and you win. This is one hell of a boss battle. Really fun, very on toe-keeping, and a great challenge. And bonus, clever, unique, epic concept. Beyond a shadow of a doubt, the best boss battle in Mario Party DS, not the entire series, just to be clear. In my book, it's a real bash. Don't be bashing my stick. 1. Track Star. The lone player's riding a train chasing the team. There's 3 split paths, and at each one, each player must choose a path to take. If any team players pick the same path as the lone player, they'll have to keep pushing 2 buttons to outrun the train. Meanwhile, the lone player's gotta mash 1 button trying to catch up to and hit them. If at least 1 team player can survive the entire time, the team wins, but if not, the lone player wins. You wanna talk about really fun, thrilling, and on edge keeping? Talk about this minigame. And you want a unique, funny concept? This one definitely has one. Now, you can probably tell, but there is a little bit of luck involved, since there's no way of knowing who's gonna pick which path. But that's more than made up for by all the great things about this minigame. That seems to be a recurring theme here. A minigame with luck involved getting number 1 on one of my lists. I never thought I'd see the day. Yes, I know luck is only a minor part of it, but still totally unexpected. With all this, Trackstar is easily my number 1 favorite Mario Party DS minigame. It's the star of the show, and that logic definitely tracks. Funny? I've never heard that word before. What does it mean? So there you have it, my ranking of every Mario Party DS minigame. For more videos like this, please like, comment, share, and subscribe. Also, please check out my social media. All links are in the description. Thanks a ton for watching. See you in the next one. Mikoro out.